I just want to take a minute to talk about this Elf on the Shelf tradition. Don't mind all this. This is what teachers look like after school every day. I mean, it's March, end of March, and we're lucky that I can even put two sentences together after work every day. So all this mess, this is it. This is what you get. Anyway, back on topic. I am a teacher and I participate in Elf on the Shelf. I had one in my classroom. We have one at home. His name is Tommy. So we're a very pro Elf on the Shelf household. Now I'm sure you're wondering why I'm talking about Elf on the Shelf at the end of March. Well, there's this Elf on the Shelf birthday tradition. Now, I always hid this tradition from my students because there's no way that I could keep up with an elf 18 times a year. I mean, after 11 years, I can barely remember the order of my roster or some of their last names even in June. We also tried to hide this birthday tradition from our children until a very nice teacher, who happens to be one of my very good friends, posted a picture of her daughter 2 years ago with their elf on the shelf who just happened to show up for her birthday. Now that is super. I think that is awesome. However, her daughter and my daughter are best friends. So my daughter began asking me, when is Tommy coming back for my birthday? Is he coming back for my birthday? Now, this was 2 years ago, and we did manage to dig Tommy out of his hiding spot, and he showed up for her birthday. I think he came last year. We were packing to move, so not 100% sure, but he has been making an appearance every year. So the problem that comes with Elf on the Shelf responsibility is finding a sacred hiding spot for the elf. What's worse is when you can't remember where you hid the elf, and that actually happened to us this Christmas. I went out. Tommy always comes on my husband's birthday, which is November 28th, right around the day after Thanksgiving. Now remember, we had just moved in October. Well, we were pretty sure we knew where we hid Tommy. I was almost 52% sure. So being the planners that we are, we waited until the night before my husband's birthday to go and dig him out of his hiding spot. Now my husband, God bless him, he was pretty certain he knew where the elf was. So he went out to the garage and came back in and said, well, I found him. I was pretty psyched because that never happens to us. We always get ourselves in this kind of bind, and we're the type of people and parents who like to kind of live on the wild side and do everything last minute. It's quite a stressful way to live, but we've been doing it a long time and we apparently get some kind of thrill out of it. I mean, I've been thinking about hiring a life coach to help me become more organized, but I'm afraid it would turn out just like the cleaning lady did. Cleaning lady, aka my sister, would come and clean the house and it would be beautiful for about 12 hours and then money wasted. So I decided to just take that task back on, and of course that usually gets done last minute, Sunday PM sometime. So while I'm tempted, I'm afraid that if I do hire a life coach, he/she would train me in what to do, but as you can also probably tell, I was recently diagnosed with adult ADD, and apparently my meds have worn off. So what were we talking about? Oh, Tommy the elf. So Jay comes to bed. He found the elf, told me where to find the elf the next morning. I was super stoked. Next morning, 5 a.m., I get up, I go to the garage, I go to the hiding place. I pick up the elf, and the elf looks very feminine. Nothing like Tommy the elf has looked for the last 4 years, so I was a little bit concerned until I figured out he had found the elf from my classroom, which was a girl. So that presented a problem since our elf is a boy. I thought maybe I could pull it off. I had all kinds of stories in my head because, as we know, I'm really good at telling a story. I had to think pretty quick because it was 5 a.m. and my daughter's alarm goes off at 5:40 a.m. and she was expecting to see her elf, a boy. Now, this kind of stuff happens to us a lot, as I mentioned, so I'm pretty good at thinking right on the spot, on the fly. And I'm pretty good at telling a story, so I had 40 minutes to come up with a really good story. So we got a new elf. Her name was Jingles. It turns out that Jingles had come from the North Pole, and she came in place of Tommy for a few days because Tommy was working on something super special and Santa didn't want him to leave yet, so he sent Jingles. Now, maybe that wasn't the best explanation because I hadn't had any coffee yet. It was a school day, and I had to be quick. I had to think on the spot. That's what I came up with, and that presented a problem. Now, as I said, I'm a teacher, so I go to bed pretty early, which leaves my husband with a very difficult task. He has to move the elf every night. So I wasn't quite sure how to tell him that we had inherited another elf, even though it was kind of his fault. So we can't keep track of one elf, but now we're going to have two. So we get two. We get another boy. Tommy's back. My eyebrows are really, really bad. I have to do something about that. Okay, so now we have two elves, Tommy and Jingles, and we have to figure out what to do with them every day. The whole month of December. Now, we know that at first it's fun, maybe the first couple of days, but after the first week it becomes a nightmare. And now we have two. So Christmas comes and goes, we survive the elves, we hide the elves in a sacred spot. Well, March rolls around very quickly, and my daughter, of course, writes a note to her elf to come for her birthday. And of course I forget because, as I said, we don't really plan things out well. Last night, I'm on my way to bed, it's about 8:30, and Jay says, "What about the elves?" Because remember, now we have two. That means we'll always have two. Two of them, always. So, kids go to bed. I'm ready for bed, very ready for bed. And I have to make a birthday card from these elves, blow up a couple of balloons, put them by our bedroom. Once again, we're pretty sure we remember the sacred spot where we hid the elves. Well, both of us go to find the elves. No elves. Anywhere. Anywhere that we would have put the elves. No elves. But, lo and behold, through a crazy year-long move, lots of moving, lots of packing, lots of unpacking, lots of moving again, and unpacking and packing. Wait for it. We find Tommy, the original elf. So now I have to make a birthday card, and I have to blow up balloons, and I have to now explain where Jingles is. Like I said, I'm pretty good on the spot. I'm pretty good at telling a story. So as it turns out, Jingles got the elf flu, and she couldn't come for Gracie's birthday. And for her sake, it's a good thing she didn't come because Gracie gallivanted Tommy the elf all over school all day. So she gets in the car to come home and pulls out a note from one of her besties to send back with Tommy. Tommy is to take this note back to the North Pole to give to her elf so that he will come for her birthday. So now I have to let this poor mother know that she also has to dig out her elf from its sacred hiding place. Tommy, as we speak, is sitting down by the pool, enjoying the sun before his trip back to the North Pole tonight. When he goes back tonight, I'm really afraid of what's going to happen to him. We lost one elf, so we replaced it with another elf, and then we had to buy another elf. We're going on 3 elves here. We're not going on 3 elves. We have 3 elves now, somewhere, 2 of which we can't find. So when November 27th rolls around again, and we remember we have to take these elves out, and we can't find Jingles, and who knows if we will even be able to find either Tommy. I may have to buy a new Jingles, and I could have to buy a new Tommy. I don't know. My memory is not very good these days. I don't know how it's going to be at the end of November. So we have 2 missing elves, 1 found elf, maybe, possibly 2 missing elves. So I may have to go out and buy another girl elf. So at minimum, if I don't find Jingles, we are going to end up with 4 elves. 4. We have elves everywhere, but we don't know where any of them are. Which leads to another problem. My kids can't find something that's right in front of their face, but if you don't want them to find it, they'll find it. So I'm a little afraid. And now I'm locked in my bathroom because one of them comes in and it happens to be the birthday girl, and ooh, what are you doing on Snapchat? Trying to finish a story because I have no life and I like to video myself now. Anyway, all I can think now is that my children's childhoods are going to be ruined because they're going to start finding random elves all over the house. So now I'm going to worry until December about where these elves are. I'm going to have to go on an elf hunt in April because I have to find these elves, people, or my kids will find these elves. Christmas will be ruined for them forever. Cassie, I love you with all of my heart, but I blame this on you. You started this. You started this birthday tradition. It's March and I'm worrying about elves. I'm supposed to be done worrying about elves on December 24th. Why you gotta go being a good mom? Elfie has started a fiasco in my house. That screaming you just heard was my 8-year-old. She now talks in beluga whale. I don't know why. So we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this day. Hopefully by November I'll find every elf, or we will have 5. My final message is stop the madness. Parents, stop the madness. No birthday elves. I love the elf. My students love the elf. My kids love the elf, but the birthday elf is killing me. And it's apparently spreading like wildfire because now I have to send a letter from a little girl back to the North Pole to her elf. Her mother may never speak to us again after this because now the ball's in her court. So stop the madness. Bring your elf out once a year. And put him away until next year. Unless you're super organized, and then you could totally forget everything I said because you probably know where your elf is. Cassie, I still blame you. It's all your fault. But I still love you, babe. One of my besties, best teacher my daughter ever had. This elf thing, though, the madness has to stop, Mama. It's gotta stop. I can't deal with it again next year. 5 elves, guys. 5. They have to be found. Ada, you gotta come over. You gotta come over. You gotta clean out. You gotta do the annual Carney clean out. Because you know I have ADD and I can't do it alone. And we gotta find these elves. That's all I have for today. I mean, this video could be like 10 minutes long and you stopped it a long time ago. I'm just sitting here on my bathtub, talking to myself, using a filter because I'm so haggard and worn. Quite honestly, hiding from my kids because I can't take any more beluga whale today. I'm gonna lose it. Losing my mind. 5 p.m. on a Tuesday. We got 3 days to go. I still have to make dinner. We still have birthday cake because yes, my daughter already had a birthday party, but we're still cutting a cake. So shout out to my birthday girl. She's 8 today. Woo woo. But I'm a little tired. She's awesome. I love her, but she's never getting a visit from the birthday elves again. Parents, I'm telling you, stop the madness. If you've never introduced a birthday elf, don't do it. Don't do it. Fight it. Be the mean parent. Seems like such a cute idea at first, but it's crazy. You got more than 2 kids, hang it up. We're lucky that Jackson's lucky that he is already a December baby. The elf is already here. Happy birthday. Hurrah. I gotta stop now because I can't look at my eyebrows anymore, and I know you have to be tired of me.